Welcome to episode 4 of our Princeton Makes podcast. Woo! Again, if you are hearing this for the first time and you are not familiar with Princeton Makes is an artist cooperative, and we're about 30 artists and that we sell in the store here at the shopping center at Princeton. Some of us also have a studio on site. Today we're hosting Adriana Groza. Hi, Adriana.
Hi, Zohar.
Our Adriana is the Artist of the Month here at Princeton Makes. Maybe let's start with who are you? Where are you from? This is like two accents talking to each other, so we can start with that.
That's funny. Good morning, Zohar, and thank you so much for inviting me to do this podcast. I am thrilled to be talking to you and about Princeton Makes and about myself. So my name is Adriana Groza. As you picked up an accent, I am Romanian. I was born and raised in Transylvania, Romania, and I came to the United States 18 years ago with my husband.
Me too, 18 years ago.
18 years ago, 2004.
Yeah.
We landed on Thanksgiving Day. Had no clue about it. Got stuck for 2 hours extra in the airport because of it.
Where?
At JFK. And friends of ours, funny story, short story, waited for us with a Mustang. A Mustang coupe, and we had 4 luggages, big luggages. So 4 people, 4 luggages, imagine.
So you were with the kids? No,
no kids then.
Okay, cool. So that was the start. So where did you go from there?
We came to New Jersey. We knew some people. My husband had worked the year before, had come with a student program, and he stayed in the Bordentown, Florence area. So that's where we went. We knew a few Romanians there. He knew them. And then we started building, and now we have a huge community of Romanians that we're a part of, and now a really big community of artists that I'm a part of.
So did you you were already an artist then?
No, I was not. I was trained in business administration, and I had done in Romania, oddly enough, a lot of kitchen cabinetry and furnishings design and sales. And coming into the US, I worked at another furnishings company. I transitioned through a lot of different occupations until I finally decided to follow who I really am, and I think I'm an artist.
So how did that happen?
How did that happen? So I started painting in this style of painting. I use fluid acrylics, and I started using this style of painting sometime in 2017. I bought my first paints and canvas in 2009 and started trying different techniques, different styles of painting, but I wasn't ready. I was frugal with the paints, I was frugal with the materials. I didn't have the mindset that I gained later on when I started taking some classes with other painters. Rich Gady is a good example. He's passionate about horses, but he has other subjects. And I fell in love with his use of color and texture in his paintings. And I took a few classes, but the recurring theme of art classes was, if you want to make a painting, you have to use paint.
What did you use before that?
Still paint. But I was just barely dipping my brushes into paint. I was barely using any paint.
Oh, okay. So now you know that you have to use a lot of paint.
And ironically,
and not be shy.
Ironically now, I let it flow and I go with it, and that's not my concern anymore.
Okay, cool. So what kind of art do you do? Can you just...
So my art is fluid acrylics on canvas. I start with acrylic paint, professional grade acrylic paint. I use primarily Liquitex and Golden brands, either in a tube or in a jar. And from there, I take them and I mix them with a pouring medium and some water to get them to the viscosity I need for the particular application I'm working on. My style of painting I would describe as abstract, intuitive. For the most part, there are a few subjects that interest me, a few different flowers, a few landscape settings, but narrowed down to aerial views over the beach. And
And the fox.
the fox, yes, the fox, that's a special project that's completely unrelated to my art, to the rest of my art. But yes, awareness of inner strength is this painting of a fox that is so popular now and so known, and I believe the fox to be my spirit guide, and so I wanted to paint the fox in the style without brushes, without sketches that I use in the rest of my painting. In using fluid acrylics, the whole goal for me behind using this medium is to let go of control. I'm a controlling person in my everyday life, and I need a space where I don't need to reproduce something. I don't need to dictate every single step. I don't need to script anything. So that's what gives me the calm and the peace and the freedom. You see, all of my art, all of my paintings are done in one sitting. So, and I can't practice several times because it's a lot of materials, it's a lot of surface, it's a lot of real estate that it would take to do a practice of a painting in particular.
It's one sitting because it will dry? There's
Yes.
like
Yes.
technical control.
Yes, exactly, for technical reasons. I work horizontally and the space needs to be perfectly level. It's a process style of painting. You can't just roll out of bed and go paint in the studio. I have to have all of my paints prepared and in the best condition so that they float, they don't have any impurities in them. I have to make sure the space is level, that I know where the cat is and will be in the next 2 days, or the kids, so I don't have anything falling into the painting.
And you have a studio here at Princeton Makes, right?
Yes, I am thrilled to be part of this community of artists and to have the studio here, to have people come and go and see me paint, and for me to be able to share about my techniques and about my style, and also I've accelerated the knowledge I have as a small business owner because I do paint and I do work as an artist full time, accelerate so many aspects of my business.
So you actually do your paintings here in the studio?
I do a lot of painting in the studio, yes. I've started a series of larger works that I did in my own home studio, which is where I was painting before joining the co-op. But I do enjoy painting here because I get and I feel like I am able to impart energy, a good energy, while I'm painting. Because even though it's a process to get to the moment of painting, when I start, it happens rather quickly. So it's a fascinating process to observe live. People love it.
How did you get to Princeton Makes?
Princeton Makes, I saw a call for artists on Facebook. And then I joined the conference call with Jim and a few other artists. As we were on the conference call, Jim announced that he had to drop off. He was meeting people here in the space, and I was home in Hamilton, and I said, oh my God, I'm gonna jump right in the car and come see the space.
Wow.
And here I am.
Yeah, so you're one of the first people.
Yes.
And you're one of the only artists that I know that is full-time artist. And how does that work for you? Like, how do you make your money out of this?
So I pursue a couple of different streams of revenue for my art business. One is making and selling paintings, and the second is teaching. As I was doing live events at different art openings, and I was painting live, people started asking me, so are you teaching a class? How do we get to do this? We'd love to do this. So I created the concept of a class, of a workshop, an all-inclusive workshop, which I teach, and I started last year in April. I'm thrilled to say that people that joined have been coming back and have signed up for a second or a third time, or they've gifted the workshop.
Are you giving these workshops at your home? You're giving them here at Princeton Makes?
Awesome question. I do private lessons at Princeton Makes because of the size of my studio space. However, I am in process of working out the way to teach workshops downstairs in our beautifully renovated space downstairs, which is going to be perfect. I'm looking forward to that. But I have taught in my personal home studio / gallery. It's an intimate size workshop, so 4 or 5 people at a time. And then I've been hosted by different organizations in the area, the Arts Council of Princeton and others.
So you sell your art, you said. So how do you sell it? On Etsy or where?
I don't sell on Etsy. I do have a profile, which is it requires a lot of publicity. So I do have a good social media following, and I post consistently on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and some sales come from there. I sell a lot in person. At Princeton Makes, I sell some of my art, but I also engage in, and I've sought festivals, and that's a whole new avenue I've started taking closer to the end of 2021. And it's a process to find out, to experiment really in the beginning and see which festivals work, which ones are good and which ones are not, which ones to go to and which ones to not do.
How do you know that? Do you have to try?
You have to try. You have to try. What I always focused on was having a professional presentation, no matter what I'm doing. The same approach I use for my art, for creating my art, by working with professional grade canvases, professional grade paints. I apply in my workshops where I use the same grade materials as I use for my own art that I display and sell. I use the same approach for festivals. So I started with one-day events, but I have a tent, I have walls, I have a setup that takes about an hour and a half, and it's quite physically demanding. So I had to narrow down, and I'm still in the process of learning how to do this the best way.
So wait, go back. So every
Yes.
festival, you had to try all the festivals because you don't know them yet. So every festival you come an hour and a half in advance, you schlep your stuff, and you set it up.
Yes, so picking festivals is a game of chance in the beginning, and also learning from other artists in my network. So there are festivals that are being recommended. For example, I did the Doylestown Arts Festival 2 years in a row now. That was good for me, but logistically it's a difficult festival because it's in a city. So you have to gauge, and I've started also renting a cargo van because I am taking large artworks, like 4 foot by 3 foot artworks that I cannot fit in my car, alongside the tent, the walls, the tables, the chairs, everything else I need to take with me. Because when you go to a festival, you have to plan a whole day being away from whatever you're doing the rest of your time. You have to plan to have your food with you, your drinks, to have everything you need. So have a chair to sit on if you need to sit on.
So you have to bring a lot of things. So
You have to
rent
bring a lot of
van.
things. Yes, you have to bring a lot of things to festivals to be ready to do them, and it's physically demanding. It takes. I arrive usually at the festival, so if something starts at 10 o'clock, I need to be there at 6 a.m. to start and finish my setup.
You do it by yourself?
Yes, I do it by myself. That's how I selected all of the walls for my tent and everything, so I can make sure I can do it by myself. Now, what I've noticed going to these festivals is that the artists are just amazing people. They really are amazing people. I've never been to one place where you asked your neighbor for a hammer or a hand to open up your tent and they didn't jump immediately to help. So while you could always get somebody else's help, I like to know that I can get whatever needs to be done.
Right. And I was with you in one festival. And you came really early and you set up everything and you worked really hard and there was no people in that festival. It was kind of disappointing. Did you sell anything in that festival?
I sold just a couple of pieces. It was definitely not a good pick. Not a good pick because I've realized that making fine art, I have to be in the fine art festivals, in the those that generally will be juried and will be a two or 3 day event. They will cost you upwards of $500 to just reserve your space there, a small 10 by 10 space. Mm-hmm. But they do have a large marketing, and they do commit to making large marketing investments. They have a large marketing list or email marketing list, and they can bring in collectors ready to pay money for original art, and that's how it actually works.
Right. So you don't usually do small festivals that are free entry, and although we did have fun. I no
longer do that.
It was a really fun day.
It was a fun day, and there's something to be said for fun stuff. But yes, as a business, you need to focus on the things that work for you and help move things forward and bring you income, because it's a lot of effort. And it's not that you just set on the road at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to a festival or arrive there. It's the whole day before. You pack, you prepare, the car is loaded or the trailer is loaded at the time when you turn the key in the morning and leave. So you have to have all of your information ready, the list of your artworks, an inventory, everything protected, packaged properly so it doesn't get damaged in transit. And having done a lot of marketing on your own beforehand, so people know where you will be. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Right.
Being an artist has been more work than anything else I've done in my life.
How do you like interacting with the people that come and go and look at your stuff?
I love festivals. That is the reason why I've dedicated about 10 weekends a year. It's not much because I've met artists who do 52 weekends a year, but 10 weekends a year I dedicated to festivals because I love, again, the energy of meeting people, having people look at my work, give me their feedback, and it helps me understand better how to do things in the future, what to continue pursuing and what to drop. And meeting other artists that are so well versed at this, those artists that do the 52 festivals a year, that's fantastic. I've gained so much knowledge, so much more knowledge than I could have gained just by reading or talking to other people, by going through the experience yourself. Yeah. Like the experience of that one festival that I had to drive 3 hours away and stay with friends for the weekend for 4 nights.
Wow.
Because it was a Friday through Sunday and it was just too late to come back and sell 2 greeting cards. So that was an experience but I've learned so much. I've learned so much about how to present myself, how to create an attractive and a good flow in my booth. And the next festival was my 5-figure festival because I applied all the learning from that 2 greeting card one to the next one I did. Mm-hmm. So it's a continued, yes, they're not all this way, but I'm building towards that. Yeah. And you create a following and you create collectors keep coming back or they recommend you to their friends and family. So it's a long-term investment. It's not an in the moment return. especially for me, because I don't sell little things. I mean, yes, I do have the prints and the greeting cards, but I am actually transitioning out of taking them to the festivals. Yes, because I want to focus on my fine art original paintings.
And also we should mention that you have a good backup at home and your husband stays with the kids when you go to the festivals. Do they complain?
Sometimes they complain that they don't see me, but for the most part, they've understood, and I don't do it so much that it interferes a lot. And for example, August, I took the whole month of August. I didn't do any workshops, any festivals, and we just did fun stuff. We went to the beach, we went to museums, we did all kinds of activities so far.
If you thought of it as like a full-time job, what percentage would you say you do all the like surrounding things, like the business things and festival and stuff, and what percentage is real making art?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I am able now, as I'm still discovering, or I'm still putting together the map of my business, what works, what doesn't work, what I should continue pursuing, and at what level. I think that making of art is somewhere around 15% of the time.
Wow.
15-20% of the time, because managing the business and doing all the marketing around it, I'm wearing all the hats. I'm the marketing department, the packaging department, the education, the accounting. The I order, I execute.
Yeah. So where would you like to be?
I mean, I'd like to be closer to 50-60%. I'd like to be there, yes. I enjoy so much painting. It just liberates me from everything else that, like I said earlier, needs to be scripted and planned and all that. That's more rigid. This is free.
So we're gonna move on to our game. We have the Ask the Artist game, and that means that I'm gonna ask you a few questions. You're gonna answer quick. Are you ready?
Ready.
Ready. So what is your favorite artist of all time?
My favorite artist of all time at this moment is Georgia O'Keeffe. I more recently discovered her, as my previous favorite artist was Salvador Dali.
We'll put a link to some of her work in the show notes. Okay, what is your favorite material to create with? That's an easy one.
Fluid acrylics.
Okay, so it's a new question. What music do you like to listen to when you create, if any?
I don't listen to anything.
Really? Quiet?
Quiet.
Not podcasts even?
I can't listen to a podcast because I realize that 15 minutes into it, I haven't heard a word.
All right. What space you like to work in the best?
My home studio.
What is your worst artistic nightmare?
Becoming physically incapacitated.
One word that described how you feel when you create art.
Liberated.
All right. Thank you. That was great.
Thank you, Zohar.
So, Adriana, before we are wrapping up, let me ask you, when is your artist talk? So you have an artist talk here at Princeton Makes.
My artist talk is January 19th, 2023, starting at 6:30 p.m.
And you know you're going to do some demonstration?
I will be doing a demonstration, a small painting demonstration, yes, so the audience can see.
So everybody's welcome to come to that. And also, can you give us your whatever promotional website, and we'll also put that in the notes.
My website is www.adrianagroza.art. My Instagram is @AdrianaGrozaArt in one word.
That's all for us today. I want to thank you for coming this early in the morning.
Thank you for having me.
This podcast was created by Rebecca Swan and myself, Zohar Lavi-Hasson, and I'm sitting in for Rebecca today. Our theme music is by Renata Pugh. This podcast was recorded at Princeton Makes at the shopping center. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please email princetonmakes@gmail.com. Come and visit us at the store. We are open Thursday to Sunday, 10 to 6 p.m. Thank you for listening. See you next time.